Rain is a poor, neglected child who was forced to watch his family burned by the devil at a young age. The traumatic event left him orphaned and scarred, both emotionally and physically. Life didn't improve much afterward. He was taken in by the hero's party, but only as a slave. They saw him as nothing more than a weak, expendable tool, subjecting him to constant abuse and humiliation. Despite all the bullying he endured, there was something special about Rain. He was born with a natural talent for taming and communicating with various beasts, a skill that set him apart from others. This ability allowed him to understand and bond with animals, both ordinary and magical, making him a unique and valuable asset. Animals, sensing his kind nature, responded to him with trust and affection, offering him a rare sense of companionship in his otherwise lonely life. Despite his extraordinary abilities, Rain joined the hero's party, naively hoping to contribute to their cause and perhaps find some sense of belonging. However, his companions were about as perceptive as rocks. They saw him as weak and useless, failing to recognize the full extent of his powers. To them, he was just the scrawny kid who talked to animals, not the potential game changer he actually was. Rain's bond with the creatures he tamed provided him with solace and a semblance of friendship. He spent countless hours honing his skills, learning to communicate with and command even the most formidable, magical creatures. His ability to form deep, almost telepathic connections with animals allowed him to harness their powers in ways others could only dream of. However, the hero's party remained blind to Rain's potential. Their arrogance and ignorance led them to overlook the treasure they had in him. They continued to belittle and mistreat him until the day they deemed him unnecessary and kicked him out, believing they had no further use for him. This betrayal was a significant turning point in Rain's life. Though he left the hero's party with nothing but the clothes on his back, he carried with him a burning determination to prove his worth. He ventured out on his own, fueled by a desire to unlock his full potential and show the world what he was truly capable of. Despite the harsh treatment, Rain didn't harbor resentment. Instead, he sought to prove his worth and unlock his full potential. He faced countless dangers and challenges, but his unique ability to tame and communicate with beasts always gave him an edge. Along the way, he met others who recognized his talent and value, forming bonds that would eventually lead him to a new path, one where he was no longer a neglected, abused child, but a powerful tamer with the strength to forge his destiny and protect those he cared about. As he traveled, Rain's reputation grew. Stories of the boy who could tame the fiercest of beasts began to spread, attracting the attention of those who sought his aid and companionship. His journey was one of self-discovery and empowerment, transforming him from a victim of circumstances into a beacon of hope and resilience. With each new bond he formed, Rain took another step toward building a family and a home, something he had longed for since the day he lost his own to the flame. Later that day, after he got kicked out of the hero's party, he sits on a park bench, thinking about how his team had mocked him over the past 6 months, and how he ignored the warning signs. 3 kids approach and ask him to show his ability. Since no one else cares about his powers, he agrees. Feeling validated by the group, he decides to become an adventurer and goes to the guild to register. Natalie, the receptionist, assigns him the task of slaying 10 goblins and collecting 20 medicinal herbs as his trial to officially become an adventurer. He heads to the forest, ready to tackle his first adventure. On the way, he somehow convinces a squirrel to help him find goblins, forming a rather unusual temporary alliance. With his new furry friend leading the way, they eventually stumble upon a group of goblins lounging around, indulging in their usual routine of eating and sleeping. Hiding behind a tree, he prepares his knife for a sneak attack, his heart pounding in his chest. Summoning every ounce of courage, he charges forward and slashes the throat of an unsuspecting goblin. Chaos ensues as the remaining goblins scramble to escape. Fueled by adrenaline, he leaps onto one, tackling it to the ground, and stabs it in the spine. The surviving goblins, now furious, grab rocks and sticks, ready to retaliate. Thinking quickly, he slashes the throat of another goblin and, with surprising accuracy, throws his knife at one more. The knife finds its mark, striking the goblin in the chest and ending its life instantly. Just when he's admiring the runes he collected from the goblins, feeling a rush of pride at his first ever achievement, a girl's scream pierces the air. Determined to flex his newfound, albeit shaky, courage, he dashes towards the sound. He arrives to see a massive killer tiger about to pounce on a cat spirit girl. The sight of such a powerful being in danger rattles him, but his desperation to impress overrides his fear. He leaps into the air, aiming his knife at the tiger's neck with all the heroics he can muster. However, his moment of glory shatters as the knife breaks into 2 without so much as a scratch on the beast. The tiger, now enraged, turns its fierce gaze on him. Thinking quickly, he urges the girl to use the distraction and escape while he frantically brainstorms ways to deal with the monstrous feline. To his astonishment, the girl summons a burst of energy, launching herself high into the air behind the tiger. With a powerful kick, she lands on the tiger's back, knocking it out cold with a single blow. Rain begins to sing triumphantly over her strength as the tiger starts to disappear from beneath her. Just as she faints, he scrambles to save what's left of his reputation and catches her before she hits the ground. When she wakes up and mentions she's hungry, he, despite being broke, scrounges up some food. Once her stomach is full, the previously hangry cat spirit finally starts talking. She introduces herself as Kinnaid and explains that she set out on a journey because she was bored with her quiet life in the mountains. She wandered into the forest during her travels, but had grown weak after not finding any food for 3 days, which is when the tiger attacked her. As they make their way back to the city, Rain shares his own tale of woe. Kinnaid, furious at how his team treated him, labels them as rude and arrogant. She then drops a bombshell. Rain is one of the rare beast tamers capable of taming cat people, and urges him to give it a shot. Flashbacks of being trapped in a fire as a child flood his mind, making him realize that having an ultimate species like Kinnaid as his companion might ensure he never faces such terror alone again. Steeling himself, he bites his thumb and lets the blood flow, starting the ritual for a permanent contract. As the drop of blood touches his other palm, a rune appears on his arm, and a binding spell forms around Kinnaid. To his immense relief, the contract is successful. Rain and Kinnaid are now bound together forever. He can't help but feel a mix of triumph and disbelief. His life just took a turn for the magical, and all it took was a bit of blood and a lot of guts. The next day, Rain proudly takes the 10 runes from the goblins and the 20 medicinal herbs he collected back to the guild. With these, he officially becomes an F-rank adventurer with the Horizon Adventurers Guild. He turns to Kinnaid and tells her they need to start taking up jobs immediately since he's too broke to afford food or lodging. As they're discussing their dire financial situation, a burly guy saunters up to them, clearly astonished to see an actual cat spirit in town. He rudely asks Kinnaid out for coffee, all while mocking Rain. Kinnaid, in full waifu mode, stands up for Rain, calling him her master. This only makes the guy laugh harder, and he challenges Rain to an arm wrestling match, with Kinnaid as the prize. Rain agrees to the match, determined to ensure this guy never bothers Kinnaid again. Everyone, including Rain, is shocked when he wins in the blink of an eye, injuring the brute's massive hand in the process. Rain can't help but marvel at his own unexpected strength, while Kinnaid beams with pride and the crowd cheers in disbelief. Natalie rushes into the lobby after hearing the commotion and immediately starts apologizing to Rain, explaining that the thug always causes trouble for everyone. When the gangster tries to provoke her, she nonchalantly slams his face into a table and drags him away. After another round of apologies, Kinnaid notices Rain's confusion about his newfound strength. She explains that contracting with an ultimate species massively boosts the tamer's stats. Kinnaid's initial disappointment in Rain's lack of knowledge quickly turns to excitement as she asks about their next job. Her enthusiasm is short-lived, however, when she learns that their next task is more herb gathering in a forest. Bored out of her mind, she watches as Rain contracts some rabbits and has them find the herbs in record time. Despite the mundane task, Rain's resourcefulness leaves her impressed, even if the job itself is as thrilling as watching grass grow. Suddenly, Kinnaid's sharp ears pick up distant screams. The duo rushes toward the sound and, from their hiding spot, see an old man being bullied by the Ebon Fangs, a notorious group of bandits. The adventurers he hired to protect him had fled in fear, leaving him defenseless. Rain feels compelled to save the man and charges out of the bushes with Kinnaid. He lands a solid punch in one goon's stomach, sending him sprawling to the ground. Another bandit swings a stick at him, but Rain ducks and delivers a heavy blow to the bandit's gut. Kinnaid, meanwhile, dashes to the merchant to ensure he's safe. With his new superhuman strength, Rain defeats the bandits in no time. The grateful merchant urges them to flee, warning that the rest of the gang will surely seek revenge. Rain decides to capture all the bandits. He tames a squirrel to guide them to the Ebon Fang's hideout. Once there, he makes a contract with a swarm of Arbies, a magical bee species whose sting can paralyze victims for 12 hours. He then sends Kinnaid to town to bring back adventurers and knights as reinforcements. As soon as the bees are unleashed on the bandits, chaos ensues. The bandits flail and stumble, their movements slowing as the paralysis sets in. As Kinnaid returns with reinforcements, Rain stands triumphant among the paralyzed bandits, feeling a mix of satisfaction and exhaustion. The reinforcements help round up the incapacitated Ebon Fangs, and the merchant thanks Rain profusely. Rain can't help but smirk, knowing he not only saved the day, but also proved his former team wrong in the process. Back at the hideout, the entire gang is scattered all over the cave, already paralyzed when Kinnaid arrives with the reinforcements. The adventurers quickly move in to arrest the goons, praising Rain for his clever use of the magical bees. They assure him that they'll handle the cleanup so he can relax a bit. Just as the group prepares to leave, loud roars echo from deeper within the cave. A bunch of C-rank king lizards, kept as pets by the Ebon Fangs, emerge, clearly having gone berserk. The adventurers freeze, and Rain realizes that the situation just got a lot more dangerous. Without hesitation, Rain jumps into action. He rushes at the nearest lizard, delivering a powerful punch to its chest and knocking it out. Kinnaid, not to be outdone, lands a solid kick to another lizard's jaw, sending it sprawling. As the battle intensifies, Rain directs the other adventurers to get the bandits out and escape, while he and Kinnaid handle the beasts. Rain moves swiftly, landing kicks and punches with precision, taking down the king lizards one by one. Kinnaid matches his pace, her movements fluid and deadly. Together, they make quick work of the creatures. Amidst the chaos, Rain can't help but reflect on his journey from a weak outcast in his former party to a powerful adventurer with superhuman strength and an ultimate species as his companion. Kinnaid's presence is a constant reminder of how far he's come. With her by his side, he feels invincible and ready to face any challenge, no matter how daunting. As they defeat the last of the king lizards, the cave falls silent, and a sense of accomplishment settles over them. The adventurers return, having secured the bandits, and are in awe of Rain and Kinnaid's teamwork. The merchant they saved earlier expresses his gratitude, praising Rain for his bravery and skill. Rain realizes that his new life as an adventurer is not only more exciting, but also more fulfilling than he ever imagined. He reminisces about the time where he used to work with the hero party. He then turned to Kinnaid and told her having her by his side is bringing all these achievements, and Kinnaid giggles in happiness. Capturing the Ebon Fangs earns Rain a promotion to E rank and a sizable reward. This windfall finally allows them to afford real food and buy some much needed equipment. They also find a comfortable lodge, but have to share a room because everything else is full. Rain sees Kinnaid jumping on the bed, screaming excitedly. He looked at her in shock, realizing it was going to be a long night. As they settle in for the night, Rain tells Kinnaid he'll be sleeping outside. Kinnaid, sensing his discomfort, reassures him that he can stay in the room. He insists she shouldn't trust anyone she just met. Rain warns her not to be naive as he starts to leave the room. Kinnaid stops him, her eyes earnest. She tells him she trusts him because she considers him a friend. Touched by her words and the genuine trust she shows, Rain decides to stay. That night, Rain sleeps soundly, exhaustion from the day's events overtaking him. Kinnaid, however, stays awake, her mind racing. She reflects on all the bad people who have tried to approach her throughout her life because of how rare and valuable she is. She feels a deep sense of gratitude for having met Rain, who tries to protect her out of genuine goodwill and care. In that quiet moment, she makes a silent vow to herself. She will help him heal from his past pain and be there for him through thick and thin, no matter what challenges they face. A week goes by with Rain and Kinnaid handling basic, peaceful tasks. They spend their days collecting herbs, delivering packages, and occasionally taming wild animals for the locals. It's a nice change of pace, but they both start craving something more exciting. One day, they learn that a notorious hooligan called the Guard Dog has taken over an important bridge, blocking passage for everyone. Natalie briefs them about the task, explaining that the Guard Dog is a massive beast and a significant menace to the kingdom. The reward for defeating the beast is enormous, and Rain's eyes light up with determination and a bit of greed. Tempted by the hefty reward, Rain immediately accepts the task. As they approach the bridge, they can feel the tension in the air. The once bustling pathway is now eerily quiet, and the sight of the imposing beast in the distance sends a shiver down their spines. Despite the danger, Rain's resolve strengthens, and Kinnaid stands by his side, ready to support him in the upcoming battle. At the bridge, they are immediately confronted by a huge red dragon that lands with a loud thud, sending out strong, blinding wind currents in all directions. As the dust settles, the dragon transforms back into its original form, a shape-shifting girl. Talk about getting the deluxe edition by mistake. She introduces herself as Tanya, the ultimate species of dragonoid, and declares that she is using this bridge for her training. Sensing their strength, she believes they would make the perfect opponents to hone her skills on. Before Rain can brace himself, Tanya Tanya rushes towards him at full speed and aims a karate chop at his face. He narrowly manages to dodge and block it at the last minute. Tanya then shoves him away and throws him into the air, but Rain lands on his feet with a graceful roll. Without missing a beat, she blasts a wave of fire in their direction, setting Kinnaid's tail on fire. Furious, Kinnaid launches herself at Tanya, aiming a powerful kick. Tanya blocks it effortlessly and counters with a punch. Kinnaid, quick to recover, blocks the punch and they exchange rapid attacks. Rain sees an opening and jumps up from behind Tanya, signaling Kinnaid to coordinate their attack. They both strike simultaneously, but Tanya blocks them with ease. She spins them around and hurls them into the air. While mid-air, she unleashes a strong wave of fire towards them. Reacting swiftly, they use their feet to push away from each other and avoid the flames, landing safely on the bridge. Realizing they can't overpower Tanya in hand-to-hand combat, Rain decides to use his Beast Tamer abilities. He tells Kinnaid to buy him some time while he works out a plan and dashes away from the scene. Kinnaid charges at Tanya, delivering a powerful punch that pushes her back. Before Tanya can regain her footing, Kinnaid attacks again, but Tanya blocks each blow with precision. Meanwhile, Rain, hiding in a corner, spots a bird and enters a temporary contract with it. He instructs the bird to bring its friends. The birds flock towards Tanya and start pecking at her, causing her irritation. She tries to shoo them away, boasting that they can't hurt her. Suddenly, her legs stop functioning and she collapses to the ground. Rain steps forward and reveals that the birds are poisonous. As the poison spreads through her body, Tanya surrenders. Rain approaches her, offering to help her in exchange for learning more about her abilities. After some persuasion from Kinnaid, Tanya agrees to join them. The three of them, now an unlikely trio, head back to the guild, ready to face whatever new adventures await. With Tanya's formidable strength and Kinnaid's unwavering support, Rain feels more confident than ever about the challenges ahead. Back in town, Rain and Kinnaid go to Natalie, who thanks them for their service. Natalie asks if Tanya is a dragon, but Rain quickly hides the truth, insisting she's just a human. Tanya keeps interrupting, saying she doesn't want him to speak on her behalf. Rain starts walking to the door, pulling Tanya along, with Kinnaid following, leaving Natalie thoroughly confused. Once outside, Rain asks Tanya to keep her real identity a secret, explaining that if people found out she was the guard dog, the entire town might panic. Tanya, however, proves difficult to control, challenging every strong person she sees. After notifying the guild that the bridge threat has been neutralized, Rain and Kinnaid take Tanya to a field outside town. They ask her to go as far away from town as possible and promise not to cause trouble elsewhere. Tanya confesses that she has grown attached to Rain and wants to join them on their adventures. She hugs Rain, saying she is starting to like him, which makes Kinnaid jealous, and she protests. Rain, trying to ease the tension, says he doesn't mind having Tanya with them and asks Kinnaid for her opinion. Though clearly jealous, Kinnaid reluctantly agrees. Rain then begins the ritual to make a contract with Tanya, similar to the one he made with Kinnaid. He pricks his finger to draw blood and starts the ritual. After sealing the contract, Tanya looks at the sign on her hand, signifying their bond. With Tanya now part of their team, they head back to town, ready to face whatever adventures come their way. Rain, now with his new dragon lady Tanya, is assigned to exterminate slimes. In the field, Kinnaid admits she's hesitant to take part in the job because she hates how sticky slimes are. Rain reassures her that Tanya can use her fire to defeat them instead of messy hand-to-hand combat. Kinnaid's excitement is almost palpable, as if she's just discovered that slimes come with a no-touch option. Rain finds it amusing that the two girls are bonding over their mutual dislike for slime goo. The team has struggled to hunt down slimes for a while, so Rain decides to transfer part of his soul and consciousness into a bird to scout the forest from above. Kinnaid and Tanya watch in awe, likely wondering if Rian moonlights as a magical Swiss Army knife. The bird soon finds a large group of slimes, and Rain leads his companions to them. Just as Kinnaid is about to throw a huge rock at the slimes, Tanya stops her, suggesting that Rain use his fireball instead. She explains that he gained some of the cat spirit's power when he bonded with Kinnaid, and now has dragon power from bonding with her. Rain, a bit skeptical, knows from experience that his fireball isn't usually strong enough to take out an entire swarm of slimes, but he focuses his magic and gives it a shot. The fireball he conjures is tiny, barely more than a spark. If fireballs were meant to roast marshmallows, this one could maybe toast an ant. Determined, Rain keeps trying, and to everyone's surprise, the fireball suddenly grows enormous, incinerating all the slimes in one go. Kinnaid and Tanya cheer, though it's hard to tell if they're more impressed or relieved that they won't be dealing with sticky goo today. Just then, more slimes appear. Tanya, with a hint of glee, suggests that Rain use these new slimes to practice his magic. Rain, motivated by the earlier success, quickly learns to control his new dragon magic. With each fireball, he becomes more adept, and soon enough, he manages to defeat all the slimes, leaving the field clear and his companions impressed. As they head back, it's clear that if there's one thing Rain's new team is good at, it's turning even the stickiest situations into a victory. And with his new magical prowess, Rain feels ready to tackle whatever absurdity the adventurer life throws at him next. Once back in town, they receive a huge reward from the guild for their successful task. Over their celebratory dinner feast, Kinnaid and Tanya start eating with the ferocity of starved wolves, leaving Rain staring at them, terrified and clutching his plate like it's his last meal. As the food diminishes, the girls turn their attention to him, showering him with praise for his earlier performance and eagerly asking their master about his training as a beast tamer. Rain begins to tell them about his childhood in a nameless village teeming with beast tamers. His parents were also beast tamers, and he used to tame everything from large beasts to tiny insects. As he recounts the story, his mood shifts when he begins to speak about the downfall of his village. Seeing his sadness, Tanya and Kinnaid gently tell him he doesn't have to continue if it's too painful. But Rain, taking a deep breath, decides to share the whole story. When he was 12, he was practicing alone on the outskirts of the village because his parents were busy with a job. After sunset, he noticed his village glowing ominously bright red in the distance. Realizing something was wrong, he ran back, only to find his village consumed by flames, with him as the sole survivor. Adventurers, drawn by reports of a monster attack, arrived soon after and took him into custody, bringing him to an inn owned by a friend. Rain worked at the inn for years to earn his keep until he met Arios and his party half a year ago. The hero invited him to join the team, and Rain, desperate to prevent another tragedy like his village's destruction, agreed without hesitation. Unfortunately, Arios and his comrades turned out to be jerks who used and abused him. As he finishes his story, Kinnaid starts comforting him, recalling the times he saved her and the battles they fought together. She tells him he is a good soul, deserving of kindness and respect. Tanya joins in, adding her own words of comfort and expressing anger at how the hero's party treated him. Rain feels a warmth he hasn't felt in years as his new friends rally around him. Despite the darkness of his past, he realizes he's finally found a place where he belongs, with people who genuinely care for him. A few days later, the trio is tasked with slaying ogres on the battlefield. Tanya and Kinnaid decide to compete over their kill counts, and the ensuing competition leads to the ogres being almost wiped out in no time. The chaos begins with Kinnaid hurling a massive rock at one of the ogres, crushing it instantly. Not to be outdone, Tanya uses her tail to pierce another ogre through the chest, killing it with ease. The battlefield becomes a blur of flying rocks and piercing tails, with ogres falling left and right. Suddenly, Tanya notices an ogre lying under a huge rock. She approaches it, ready to burn it down, but the ogre grabs her leg, refusing to let go. She lets out a sudden fire blast, burning the monster's face and killing it instantly. Just as she is reeling from the shock of almost being caught, another ogre tries to stab her from behind. Rain jumps in just in time, blocking the monster's attack. Kinnaid then lands a swift, hard kick to the creature's face, killing the last one of the pack. After the ogres have been defeated, Tanya notices that Rain has a cut on his hand and gets worried. Rain assures her that he will be okay and uses magic to heal the cut completely, but she does not seem convinced. Rain then used his power to heal himself. Once they are back in town, Rain immediately heads over to the guild to hand over the runes collected from the ogres, while his companions wait outside. When he comes back out, he notices that Tanya is nowhere to be seen. Kinnaid tells him that Tanya was extremely upset about something and wanted to be alone, so she left without a word a while ago. Meanwhile, Tanya is reevaluating her choices on a nearby bridge, lost in thought. One of the young girls from town approaches her, curious about the dragon lady. The girl, wise beyond her years, ends up talking some sense into Tan. The dragon lady realizes she's been so caught up in her own greatness that she didn't notice how worried her master was for her. In her overconfidence, she let her guard down during the fight with the ogres, which led to Rain getting hurt. Just as she is drowning in guilt, Rain appears on the bridge. Without saying a word, his presence alone reassures her. She apologizes to him, feeling the weight of her mistake. Rain immediately accepted her apology with a warm smile, telling her he is just glad she is safe. He makes her promise to be more careful next time. Kinnaid came and ran up to her. She asked if she was okay, looking genuinely concerned, and Tanya reassured her, saying she was. A few days later, after completing another successful job, Rain, Kinnaid, and Tanya are returning to town. They are dancing and singing in joy, their spirits high from their recent triumph. Suddenly, their celebration is cut short when they're stopped on their way by Arios and his party. Arios, with his usual smug expression, steps forward, clearly not here for a friendly chat. His party members flank him, looking equally condescending. The atmosphere shifts from joyous to tense in an instant. As the memories of how they treated Rain come rushing back, Rain decides to be the bigger person and just ignores them, turning in another direction with his comrades. Ario's not willing to be brushed off so easily, rudely calls after him. He notices that both Kinnaid and Tanya are ultimate species and assumes that Rain is serving them. When the girls clarify that he is their master, the entire party loses its composure, their smug expressions faltering. Rain, feeling both surprised and annoyed by their audacity, asks what they want. Arios, with more nerve than sense, tells him about their unsuccessful adventures in the Lost Woods and invites him to rejoin their party. The nerve! The party members add insult to injury by talking about Rain's supposed uselessness and implying he should be honored to be offered a place among them again. Rain is enraged and promptly declines their offer. As he starts walking away, Mina tries to stop him, explaining that their quest is crucial to save the world. She mentions they are searching for a noble relic called the Shield of Truth in the Lost Woods, essential to defeating the Demon King. Her words stir painful memories of his burning village, and with a heavy heart, Rain reluctantly agrees to help, not wanting history to repeat itself. However, Kinnaid and Tanya stand firm, saying that the apology was not enough. Tanya proceeds insisting that the arrogant heroes kneel and properly apologize to Rain. The egotistical brats are offended, and Arios steps up, grabbing Rain by the collar and demanding he control his pets. Rain's annoyance at this blatant disrespect is evident, and Arios' continued mocking pushes him over the edge. In a burst of fury, Rain punches Arios square in the face, sending him flying to the ground. As Arios struggles to get up, Rain warns him to stay within his limits, further enraging him. Once on his feet, Arios pulls out his sword and challenges Rain and his companions to a fight to prove who is stronger. The forest, holding its breath, seems to brace itself for the impending clash. Rain, Kinnaid, and Tanya prepare to face the heroes' party, ready to show them just how powerful and united they have become. The showdown between the two groups is set to be a defining moment, not just for Rain, but for everyone involved. As they prepare for the duel, the tank of Arios' party, Agath, faces off against Kinnaid, while Mina and Lean take on Tan. Agath draws his broadsword and starts taunting Kinnaid, but before he can finish his insult, she darts toward him at inhuman speed and launches a kick at his face. He barely manages to block her with his sword when she's just inches away. Kinnaid doesn't give him a moment to breathe, following up with a barrage of fast and powerful punches aimed at his face. Bummed by the fact that he's losing to a girl, Agath enchants his sword, setting it on fire, and slashes down at her. But Kinnaid's sharp instincts and immense strength allow her to deflect the fiery blade with ease. She mocks him, causing him to decide to fight with his full strength, and, in his mind, to kill her. As he readies himself, Kinnaid casually mentions that she hasn't been using even half of her strength, which causes the bulked-up giant to visibly shake with fear and freeze in place. Taking advantage of his hesitation, Kinnaid jumps up and delivers a powerful kick to his face, sending him flying against a tree with such force that it snaps in two. Once the adrenaline fades, Kinnaid notices Agath is bleeding and unconscious. She realizes she might have overdone it a bit, looking around sheepishly as if to say, oops. In another part of the field, after the customary trash talk that accompanies any battle, Lean and Mina launch a joint attack at the Dragon Lady with their magic. However, with a snap of her fingers, Tanya makes their spells disappear and starts laughing at how easy they are as opponents. Enraged, they channel even more powerful attacks at her, which again meet the same fate. Tanya casually mentions that her ability allows her to cancel out any spell, so their efforts are futile. Desperate to show the glorified lizard her place, Lean and Mina keep launching attack after attack, only to exhaust themselves with no effect on Tan. In a final desperate attempt, they combine their ultimate fireball and wind attacks, but when these two are effortlessly nullified, they collapse to the ground in tears, utterly defeated. Seeing their pitiful state, Tanya decides to teach them a lesson for mocking her master. She summons a spell with dramatic flair. A magical circle forms beneath her. Red clouds cover the sun, and a blood red aura engulfs the field. Multiple columns form in the sky above, with huge red rocks peeking out menacingly. As the rocks start to fall, Lean and Mina are overcome with fear and beg Tanya for mercy. She stops the attack just in time, telling them to lighten up as it was just a bluff, but it's too late. They have already fainted from terror. Tanya stands over them, debating whether to finish them off for good, but she decides to spare them. knowing that Rain would be upset otherwise. Meanwhile, the third duel is yet to begin because Arios can't seem to stop talking. Rain, growing increasingly impatient, finally loses his cool and punches the hero in the face. This provokes Arios, who immediately slashes at Rain with his sword. Although Rain manages to dodge, he gets a cut on his cheek. Before he can regain his footing, Arios starts launching a flurry of attacks with his blade. Rain, focused and determined, eventually finds an opening and grabs Arios' sword hand, delivering a powerful punch to his stomach with his other hand. The force of the blow knocks Arios down, blood pouring from his mouth. As Arios struggles to get up, Rain throws another punch, but Arios manages to dodge, and Rain's fist shatters the rock behind him into pieces. The hero keeps slashing at Rain, but Rain dodges and suddenly kicks Arios in the side, causing him to retreat momentarily. Just as Rain thinks Arios is about to surrender, the hero launches a lightning bolt at him. Rain jumps out of the way, only for Arios to send another wave of lightning his way. Thinking quickly, Rain counters with a fireball. Arios, knowing Rain only has fireball and healing magic, decides to use other spells. He summons sharp rocks from the ground, just as Rain jumps out of the way. As Arios prepares to land the final blow of lightning, Rain reveals his trump card. During the fight, he forged a contract with an Arby, which stung Arios while he was busy slashing at the Tamer. Paralyzed by Arby's sting, Arios realizes he is defeated and begs for forgiveness. But Rain, enraged by the hero's past mistreatment and mockery of his companions, starts walking towards him. Arios starts apologizing and even tells him he will surrender, but Rain, determined by anger, delivers one last powerful punch, knocking Arios out cold. As the dust settles, Rain feels a rush of relief and satisfaction, finally having avenged himself. Kinnaid and Tanya rush over, and the three of them share a joyous group hug, celebrating their hard-earned victory. After the fight, Rain and his companions round up the heroes and force them into properly apologizing. Watching Arios and his party grovel is strangely satisfying. Once the apologies are out of the way, Arios gets to the matter at hand and explains that the Shield of Truth is currently in the possession of monsters deep within the Lost Woods. After a bit of thought, Rain agrees to take up the job of finding the Shield of Truth. Tanya and Kinnaid didn't like the idea and told Rain they can take the Demon King by themselves and they shouldn't collaborate with the heroes. As they arrive at the Lost Woods, even the fearless Tanya is creeped out and considers burning the entire forest down. The eerie atmosphere and the fact that they're helping the arrogant heroes bug the girls even more. But Rain calms them down, reminding them that defeating the Demon King is more important than any personal grudges they may have. The map given by the heroes turns out to be useless because the forest constantly changes its layout, making it impossible to navigate. Instead, Rain calls upon a bird to switch souls with it and scout the forest from above. The bird's eye view proves invaluable, and after returning to his original body, Rain guides his companions through the forest with confidence. As they move deeper into the woods, the trio encounters various obstacles, but Rain's quick thinking and the girls' formidable skills help them overcome each one. Despite the creepy ambiance and the occasional ghostly whisper, they press on, determined to find the Shield of Truth and fulfill their mission. Guiding them through a path he found, Rain realizes they are walking in circles after crossing a marker they had previously left. When Kinnaid suggests they might have taken a wrong turn, Rain confidently assures her it's highly unlikely, given that he had shared the information with other birds who would have warned him of any mistake. Tanya offers to investigate and summons her search magic, leading them to a glowing tree in a bright clearing in the forest. It becomes apparent that the tree has been emitting illusionary magic, affecting their senses and making them walk in circles. Tanya suggests Kinnaid break down the tree to break the spell and help them make progress. Just as Kinnaid agrees, Rain interrupts, proposing that Tanya use her magic to take down the barrier instead of destroying the tree. Tanya mentions that due to the tree's power, it might take a long time. Hearing this, Kinnaid loses her patience and leaps at the tree. Just as Kinnaid is about to land a punch, a voice starts emanating from the tree, warning them to leave the forest. Startled, Kinnaid quickly retreats and hides behind Rain. Suddenly, a fairy emerges from the tree, causing Kinnaid to peek out from behind Rain. Her curiosity piqued despite her initial fright. Rain recalls those fairy tales where humans are the ultimate bad guys for stealing fairy treasures. He's feeling both lucky and baffled to be the first human in 2 centuries to meet a fairy. So, he decides to turn on the charm and talk to the rare creature. But she's not having any of it. After his attempts to chat fall flat, she threatens to toss them out if they don't leave. Terrified, they bolt, running like their pants are on fire. Once they realize she's not chasing them, they stop to catch their breaths. Kinnaid is stunned that the fairy was dangerous instead of friendly. Rain agrees, finding it unbelievable that she showed herself to a human. They start suspecting something fishy is going on. They note the fairy appeared when they were close to the barrier and about to break it. Kinnaid mentions hearing that the monster with the shield of truth was hiding behind a barrier. Rain wonders if a fairy would team up with monsters just to spite humans. Tanya cuts in, saying they should quit worrying about the fairy's motives and focus on breaking the barrier. She suggests they use teamwork to overpower the fairy. Rain still has doubts and insists on giving it another shot with the fairy, much to the girl's annoyance. He argues that she only attacked because they got defensive and promises that nothing bad will happen if they approach calmly and without hostility. The girls reluctantly agree. When they return to the clearing, Rain steps forward to talk to the fairy. She keeps telling them to scram, but Rain assures her they mean no harm and are just there for work. She gets ready to attack, but Rain stands his ground and gives her the go-ahead, ahead saying he's willing to take a hit to build trust. The fairy summons portals to launch arrows, but Rain's companions go into defense mode. He stops them, confident he can handle it. The fairy fires the arrows, and when she sees Rain letting them cut him, she halts the attack. Puzzled, she asks why he isn't running away. He explains he just wants to talk. She questions if he's really from the same species that stole from them and wrecked their land. He assures her that good humans exist, but she finds it hard to believe. She launches another wave of arrows aimed right at his heart. Rain, stubborn as ever, refuses to move. Kinnaid, with an exasperated sigh, yanks him out of the way. Tanya, channeling her inner superhero, leaps in front to shield him with her body. The fairy, surprised by their devotion to this human, calls back her magic. Rain, looking ruffled, scolds them for interrupting. The girls, rolling their eyes, explained they were worried and couldn't just stand by. Kinnaid and Tanya then tell the fairy about all the good Rain has done for them, highlighting how he had protested against destroying the tree from the very beginning. This piques the fairy's curiosity. She introduces herself as Sora and declares she will hear what he has to say. When they explain their quest, Sora reveals that she is the one who erected the barrier. When asked if she could take it down, Sora explains that the barrier makes the path to the fairy's village inaccessible to outsiders. Since taking it down would expose her community, she cannot do it. Tanya tells her out their suspicions that she is covering for a monster, but Sora denies this, saying there is no monster in the forest. She adds that deep inside the forest are fairy villages, and it is they who protect the shield of truth. She further tells them she can simply give it to them if it is important to defeat the Demon King. With a flick of her wrist, she summons a ball of magic, disappears momentarily, and reappears with the shield in her hands. Initially hesitant to take the fairy's property, Rain is reassured by Sora, who explains that giving them the shield honors an ancient pact made between the fairies and the last hero. As they start to leave, Rain notices Sora's sadness and approaches her. He senses something is bothering her and offers to help. She is hesitant, fearing the trio might get hurt, but he assures her that he doesn't mind and requests her to let him help. His companions support him, and the fairy eventually agrees to share her trouble. She tells them about her younger twin sister Runa, who was captured by a Shadow Knight while they were outside the barrier. The Shadow Knight, a C-rank monster, nullifies all magical attacks, making fairies a bad matchup against them. The monster ordered Sora to lower the barrier if she wanted Luna back, but she refused and ran away. Rain promises to save her sister without exposing her people to danger. Overwhelmed by gratitude, Sora hugs him. The day of the Shadow Knight's deadline arrives, and Sora is worried. She points the trio in the direction of the monster's lair, but insists on accompanying them. Rain asks her to stay behind to avoid breaking the deal. They proceed and reach the monster's eerie throne room, taking cover behind bushes. Rain commands the attack, and they all run out of hiding. Rain throws a fireball at the knight, which explodes into a huge blast, but the magic has no effect on the knight. Kinnaid jumps on the knight and kicks it, causing it to lose balance. The Tamer punches it in the stomach, pushing it away. The knight, realizing Rain isn't the hero, is surprised but vows to punish Sora for her betrayal. It lunges at Runa, but Tanya blocks the attack and escapes with Runa, leaving her comrades to deal with the knight. The knight conjures a tornado, wreaking havoc on the forest. Rain volunteers to distract the monster while Kinnaid prepares to strike on his signal. He summons Arby's, a creature under his command, to attack. Though the paralysis doesn't affect the knight, it provides a distraction. Rain boosts Kinnaid's power with a spell, and she punches a hole through the knight, causing it to vanish. As they celebrate, Luna wakes up and asks who they are. Rain reassures her that her sister sent them to help. They head to the heart of the forest to find Sora, who is ecstatic to see her twin again. Kinnaid jokes about living together and splitting the rent, but Sora explains they must go far away for their safety. Kinnaid offers them a place in their group, and Rain chimes in, saying he wouldn't mind more girls joining if they don't mind being in a party with a human. The fairies agree, but insist that Rain form a contract with them before they join, though hesitant because he wasn't familiar with fairies. Even with the prior hesitation, he successfully forms the contract with the twins, which drains his energy. His companions support him, and they return to town. Rain heads to the guild to hand over the shield to Arios, who looks at him like he just pulled a rabbit out of a hat, surprised at how quickly he completed the task. Arios suspects the shield is a duplicate, but Mina confirms its authenticity with appraisal magic. Arios notices the new girls hiding in the corner and suspects they are fairies. Rain blocks his view, changes the topic, and receives the promised reward. Agath asks Rain to join the party again, but Rain declines, stating he already has loyal and caring friends. The party is annoyed by his attitude, but decides to move on without him. Arios, however, swears to take revenge on Rain for his arrogance and rudeness. In the afternoon, Rain and his friends enjoy leisure time in the field. Curious about their master's role in the world, the girls ask if it is true that only the hero can defeat the Demon King. Rain tells them the old legend of the hero, explaining the significance of the god's blood in the hero's body. The presence of this blood gives the hero infinite growth potential, unlike ordinary people. Kinnaid observes that the current hero is weak, and Rain tells her he is still on his training path. Sora reminds him that Rain is also like a hero now, having multiple kinds of magic due to his contracts. He now possesses the power of a cat spirit, a dragon spirit, and a fairy. They suggest he forge more contracts to become strong enough to defeat the king. Rain admits he is not mentally prepared for the task, but assures them he will reach a decision soon. The girls told him they would be waiting for his decision. Kinnaid told him that whatever happens, they would support him. One morning, as all of them are enjoying breakfast together, Tanya suggests they get new equipment to match Rain's improved power level, reminding him of the money he earned from recent jobs and his responsibility to look after his friends. Rain agrees, acknowledging the need for better gear. Rain, thinking ahead, agrees that new weapons are a good idea to be ready for any challenges. They head to the market, where the fairies, nervous around so many humans, cling tightly to him. Amidst their mild panic, two bulky guys suddenly call out to Tanya, causing them to jump. These adventurers turn out to be the ones the Dragon Lady had defeated on the bridge, now here to pay their respects. At the same time, a shopkeeper offers Kinnaid a treat for her past help. Seeing how well integrated the other two ultimates are into the human world, the fairies feel a bit jealous. Just then, the town kids show up and start teasing Rain for having more wives. Luna, flattered by a young girl calling her beautiful, almost reveals her true identity, causing her master and her sister to quickly drag her away. The party finally arrives at an old and dusty weapon shop, reputed to be the best in town. As they enter, they're greeted by an old dwarf with a long beard who gruffly informs them that it's a self-service store and they can pick whatever weapons they like from the shelves. Luna spots a whip on the wall, grabs it, and urges Rain to get it, saying that the whip is very useful and versatile. She winks and giggles, making him blush and feel embarrassed. He's starting to feel like he's in a bad Western movie. Rain notices a dagger in another corner of the shop and immediately goes to pick it up. As he draws it out of its sheath, he feels something is off about it. Just then, a heavily armed adventurer walks in and demands the best weapon money can buy. The shopkeeper hands him a fancy sword, which the adventurer eagerly buys before strutting out like a peacock in full display. Rain, curious, approaches the dwarf and asks if the sword was really his best weapon. He observes that while it is a fancy display piece, it doesn't seem very useful in real combat. The dwarf, impressed by Rain's observation skills, reveals that these are all weapons he created just to pass the time. He takes them to the back of the shop and reveals more weapons hidden under a cloth, which are the true pieces of his craftsmanship. Rain is awed by these weapons and asks the dwarf why he gives rip-offs to his customers. The shopkeeper explains that he does it to test the adventurer's mettle. Nowadays, everyone demands a fine weapon once they come into a lot of money without really thinking about their skills and affinities. Even the weapons he puts his heart into are often discarded by these fools the moment they hear of a new model in the market. Thus, he started hiding his real weapons to ensure they end up with someone worthy. Impressed by the dwarf's philosophy, Rain carefully examines the weapons. He picks up a sword that feels perfectly balanced and a set of throwing knives that seem to hum with energy. The dwarf nods approvingly, seeing that Rain has chosen well. Rain and his friends leave the shop with their new gear. The party heads to the guild, which is crowded because Arios has put out a call for support party members. As Rain approaches the receptionist, she asks him who the new girls are. Luna jumps in and tells her that they share a very intimate relationship with him. Looking at how young they are, Natalie is concerned that Rain is starting to develop problematic tendencies, which he protests vehemently. Meanwhile, Luna is just having fun because of the mischief she pulled. Rain then pulls out a document detailing the dwarf's request for materials and informs Natalie that he would like to take it up as his next job. Once they are officially registered, the party sets out on the hike to the mine. While the others enjoy the adventure, However, the fairies are about to drop dead because of the low stamina characteristic of their species. Rain leads the girls to a pretty lake. While they cool off with a swim, Rain makes friends with 2 squirrels, asking them to keep an eye out. Back on land, the fairies get jealous of the girls' figures and ask for growth tips, Tanya teases them, and chaos erupts. A harmless fish nibbles the cat girl's tail, and her scream wakes Rain from his nap. Confused and surprised by the squirrel's lack of response, he rushes to the water's edge to check on the girls. Upon investigation, he discovers that it was merely a harmless fish nibbling on Kinnaid's tail. However, the sight of the girls in their natural state catches him off guard, leading to a chorus of screams and a very red-faced Rain. As the initial shock fades, embarrassment takes over, coloring his cheeks a deep crimson. The girls, seeing his genuine mortification, forgive him but cheekily suggest he join them for a swim as a form of payback. Rain, worried about further embarrassment, politely declines and instead urges them to continue their hike. They soon reach the mine and find a hidden spot behind some rocks, providing a vantage point to observe the entrance for any signs of the thieves. Rain, ever vigilant, notices a bird behaving oddly, making loud, conspicuous noises. Realizing it's likely alerting the thieves to their presence, he tenses. 2 men emerge from the cave, scanning the surroundings for intruders. Rain quickly instructs Tanya and Kinnaid to handle the situation, but to go easy on the men so they can be questioned later. The girls approach with stealth and precision, but the men are so weak they collapse from the first blow. Puzzled by how to extract information from the unconscious men, Rain is relieved when the fairies offer to use their magic to delve into the thieves' memories. The fairies' magic reveals that these 2 men are part of a group of 7 adventurers. Armed with this knowledge, they prepare to enter the mine. Rain cautions everyone to be on high alert, knowing the enemy is likely aware of their presence, thanks to the scout bird controlled by the beast tamer in their party. Inside the cave, the atmosphere is thick with tension as the remaining thieves grow anxious over the absence of their 2 comrades. Their beast tamer, a wiry man with sharp eyes, informs them that the men have been defeated, urging everyone to be on high alert. Rain and his team carefully navigate the dimly lit cave when, out of nowhere, a blast of fire surges towards them. The fairies, quick on their feet, step forward and create a magical barrier, blocking the fiery assault. The mage, clearly frustrated, conjures another fireball, but the fairies extinguish the magic before it even leaves his staff, like putting out a candle. Enraged, the mage is swiftly bound by their magic, leaving him looking like a very grumpy mummy. Just when it seems they can catch their breath, 2 archers draw their bows and let loose a volley of arrows. Tanya, with her reflexes, transforms the arrows into harmless barbs mid-flight. Seizing the moment, she leaps into the air, delivering a powerful double kick to the archers, knocking them out cold like a pair of overripe melons. Rain approaches the leader, a burly man with a scarred face. Instead of surrendering, the leader lunges at Rain with his sword. Rain, channeling his inner action hero, deflects the attack with ease and counters with a solid punch to the stomach. The leader crashes to the ground but stubbornly refuses to give up, proving he's as persistent as a bad rash. With a dramatic flair, the leader calls forth his tamed beast, a colossal B-rank monster known as a behemoth. The ground trembles as the monstrous creature emerges from the shadows, its eyes glowing with a mix of rage and indigestion. The party stands in awe, wondering how anyone could tame such a creature that looks like it could star in its own disaster movie. The enemy beast Tamer smugly explains that he found the behemoth as a child and raised it, forging an unbreakable bond of loyalty, like some twisted version of a Disney pet story. The behemoth charges at Rain, its massive body barreling forward like an out-of-control freight train. With lightning-fast reflexes, Rain dodges, causing the beast to slam into the cave walls. The impact sends tremors through the cave, and Rain realizes the structure is about to collapse. Acting swiftly, he signals his comrades to retreat, urging them to escort the prisoners outside before they all end up as cave decor. Once outside, Tanya notices Kinnaid's restlessness and anxiety about not being able to help their friends. Tanya tries to comfort her, suggesting she trust in the Dragon Lady's abilities. Despite Tanya's reassurance, Kinnaid's tail twitches nervously, her ears perked up in concern. Inside the cave, the behemoth is about to launch its most powerful punch yet, when Kinnaid quickly grabs Rain and drags him to a hiding place. There, Rain formulates a plan, asking Kinnaid to capture the other beast tamer while he distracts the behemoth and its master. As soon as they step out into the open, the behemoth hurls a massive punch at them. They dodge just in time, and Rain starts running, the behemoth hot on his heels. The ground shakes with each of the behemoth's frustrated punches, turning the chase into a perilous game of cat and mouse. Meanwhile, Kinnaid moves with the agility of a cat spirit and manages to catch the leader of the thieves. Up close, he turns out to be a rather unimpressive figure, a pathetic loser who would rather die than let anyone discover he is a thief. Despite being captured, he stubbornly refuses to relinquish control over the behemoth, commanding it to ensure everyone perishes. Kinnaid tightens her grip, rolling her eyes at his melodramatic defiance. Rain continues to lead the behemoth on a wild chase, narrowly dodging its furious attempts to crush him. Each missed punch causes the behemoth to grow more frustrated, its attacks becoming more erratic. Rain quickly realizes that the only solution is to sever the bond between the enemy and the behemoth. Shifting his focus to the massive beast, he waits for the right moment to act. As the behemoth prepares to launch an attack, Rain steps in, using his Tamer ability to overwrite the contract and snatch the monster away from the thief. The leader of the thieves, annoyed and frustrated by his defeat at the hands of a low-ranking Tamer, attempts to provoke the beast into killing Rain, clinging to the hope that raising the beast still holds some sway. However, the behemoth, now free from its previous master's control, is more irritated by the thief's constant screaming than anything else. The beast's patience snaps, and with a ferocious roar, it lunges at the thief, intending to crush him into a bloody pulp. Before the behemoth can reach its former master, Rain intervenes once more. He gathers his energy and launches a powerful fireball at the beast. The fireball strikes with precision, killing the monster in a split second. The thief's expression shifts from smug defiance to stunned disbelief as the behemoth collapses. Rain sees the sad and hurtful expression on the thief's face and feels a pang of pity. Recognizing the moment for what it is, he tries to console the defeated leader. He explains that the behemoth had harbored a deep-seated hatred and resentment towards humans, which it had suppressed for a long time. This monster was a ticking time bomb, ready to go berserk and cause unimaginable destruction and harm. As the thief listens, the frustration and anger on his face slowly give way to resignation and understanding. Rain's words seem to penetrate the layers of bitterness, making the thief realize the inevitability of the behemoth's outburst. After this moment of revelation, Rain and his party gather the captured thieves and start questioning them. The truth that unfolds is surprising. All of the thieves were once adventurers who had bought weapons crafted by Gant, the dwarf known for his less than stellar craftsmanship. When other adventurers pointed out the mediocrity of these weapons, it stung their pride deeply. Driven by a desire for revenge, they decided to steal all the mithril from Gant, aiming to prevent him from making any more weapons, no matter how poorly crafted. When they return to the town, Rain immediately seeks out Gant to tell him the whole story of what happened during their visit to the mine. Gant listens intently, his interest piqued and admiration growing as he hears about the events. Realizing the consequences of his arrogance and pride in his weapons, Gant comes to understand that he had been looking down on humans, thinking none were worthy of wielding his creations. This revelation leaves him feeling ashamed and humbled. Reflecting on his actions, Gant vows to treat all his customers with respect from now on. He admits that his arrogance led to unnecessary conflict and vows to change his ways. Rain, seeing the dwarf's remorse, assures him that making mistakes is okay as long as he admits his faults and tries to fix them. The young Tamer's words resonate deeply with Gant, though he can't help but feel a bit embarrassed that someone so young is the one talking sense into him. Despite his embarrassment, Gant decides to start afresh. He resolves to be honest with both his weapons and his customers, ensuring that his future creations live up to the high standards he once falsely claimed they did. Rain's encouragement and understanding help Gant see the path to redemption, and he is determined to walk it with integrity. After the conversation, Rain shares his preference for a weapon and asks Gant to make a dagger and a gauntlet for him. He also whispers a grand idea that he has in mind, which makes Gant curious and excited. Gant, intrigued by the young Tamer's creativity, agrees to get the order done as soon as possible, telling Rain to come back later. Feeling a sense of relief and accomplishment, Rain decides to take this opportunity to enjoy a well-deserved break and relax for a while. The weight of recent events lifts slightly as he looks forward to the new weapons and the next steps in their journey. In another part of town, a long line of hopeful applicants forms outside the heroes' quarters. They are all here for interviews to join the heroes' support party. Inside, Ario sits with a stern expression, methodically rejecting one applicant after another. Most are beast tamers who can only tame a single beast at a time and lack combat skills. Ario's determined to find someone capable of handling multiple beasts, including ultimate species, and fighting alongside him, wonders if such a person even exists. As the day drags on, Arios's frustration grows. Each rejection feels like a step further from his goal. Mina, the team's coordinator, announces the last of the applicants, her patience wearing thin. She's fed up with her leader dismissing highly qualified candidates simply because they don't measure up to Rain, concerned that at this rate they may never assemble a team strong enough to defeat the Demon King. Mina tries to voice her worries to Arios. Arios, however, does not take kindly to Mina's concerns. His anger flares, and he insists that they will stay in this town until they find a worthy comrade. He dismisses her, telling her to leave the room and go rest. As Mina exits, she can't resist a parting shot, reminding Arios of their mission to save the world from the evil Demon King. Her words linger in the air as she dashes out the door, leaving Arios to brood over his impossible standards. Arios reaches into his drawer and pulls out a purple magical ring that glows with dark power. Clenching his fist around the ring, he swears to himself that he will use its power to annihilate Rain, his rival and enemy. His hatred for Rain burns fiercely, and he vows to destroy him before shifting his focus to challenge and defeat the Demon King. The thought of Rain fuels his anger, and he resolves to stop at nothing to achieve his goal. Several days later, Rain decides to visit the guild to check on the status of the thieves. He approaches Natalie, who informs him that the thieves have lost their licenses and are being punished with hard labor. She explains that the thieves had committed other crimes beyond robbery and taming a monster, which warranted such a severe penalty. Hearing this, Rain feels a pang of sadness and guilt as he steps out of the building. His mind races with thoughts of the thieves' fate and consequences of their actions. Outside, Sora and Luna are waiting for him and quickly notice his gloomy expression. They approach him, trying to lift his spirits. Sora and Luna reassure Rain, reminding him that he did the right thing by reporting the thieves and their behemoth. They point out that the behemoth and its unhinged owner would have caused immense trouble and danger for humans if they had escaped. Their comforting words help lighten Rain's mood, making him realize that his actions were necessary for the greater good. Once Rain calms down, he suggests to the twins, Sora and Luna, that they go for a walk to enjoy the nice weather. The girls eagerly agree, and they make their way through the bustling market. The twins buy a variety of items, their excitement palpable as they explore. Along the way, they come across a hot dog stand. When Rain struggles to explain what hot dogs are, the twins decide to try the strange dish that smells so good and let their taste buds be the judges. They eagerly gobble down the hot dogs, only to start crying when they realize they've finished them too quickly. Rain chuckles at their enthusiasm and reassures them that they will return to the hot dog stand soon. The promise of more hot dogs cheers the twins up instantly. Suddenly, the fairies remember that they wanted to talk to Rain about the ability he gained by contracting with them. They ask if he has figured out what it is yet. Rain thinks hard but concludes that he does not know. The fairies suggest that perhaps he received ultimate magic, a specialty of fairies, and ask if he has learned any new spells recently. When he replies that he hasn't, they start questioning their usefulness. Seeing the fairies' doubt, Rain steps in to reassure them. He tells them that he values them not just for their abilities, but for their companionship and support. His words bring comfort to the fairies, who realize that their bond with Rain goes beyond mere utility. The fairies ask why he wants them in his party when he already has two familiars who are way stronger than both of them combined. Rain takes a deep breath and explains how, while he was a member of his former party, he had no confidence in himself and did not trust any of his teammates. Despite working hard to keep his position, he ended up getting kicked out. Now, having recognized all the red flags he should have run away from, he has found suitable companions and wants to hold on to them. Rain tells the fairies that his goal now is to build trust among his new companions. He emphasizes that their bond goes beyond mere strength and abilities. It is about mutual support and friendship. His words bring comfort to the fairies, who realize that their bond with Rain is based on more than just utility. This heavy talk makes Luna hungry again, and this time, Rain suggests they all go for lunch together. As they walk towards the restaurant, their path is blocked by a chiseled blonde man who takes an unsettling interest in the twins. His intentions are clear, and when the twins refuse, he becomes visibly offended. Rain steps up to address the situation, asking the man what's going on. The man introduces himself as Edgar, the son of the Lord of Horizon, and flaunts his wealth to tempt the girls girls into coming with him. Despite his efforts, the twins continue to refuse his advances, much to Edgar's frustration. Determined to get his way, Edgar orders his guards to surround them and demands that Rain hand over the girls. The Tamer firmly refuses, which prompts Edgar to command his guards to attack. However, in the blink of an eye, all of them are knocked out, leaving Edgar stunned. Realizing a direct confrontation with Rain won't work, Edgar takes a more sinister approach. He orders his remaining guards to draw their swords on the nearby civilians, threatening their safety. Rain's mind races as he thinks of a way to protect everyone. The fairies offer to step in, but Rain is hesitant, not wanting to risk their magic being discovered and causing further trouble. As the tension mounts, Rain feels the weight of the situation. His determination to protect his companions and the innocent civilians grows stronger. He knows that revealing the fairies' magic could lead to more problems, so he must find another way to defuse the situation without causing harm. With a quick assessment of his surroundings, Rain devises a plan. He uses his quick reflexes and strategic thinking to outmaneuver Edgar and his guards, ensuring the safety of everyone involved. The fairies, Sora, and Luna watch with admiration as Rain handles the situation with precision and care, avoiding unnecessary conflict and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. As the tension mounts, Rain remembers something peculiar about his fireball rune and decides to focus on it. When Edgar demands his final decision, Rain looks up and summons a dozen runes in the sky above. The runes glow with power as Rain channels his energy. With a determined look, he declares that he will not let Edgar continue his actions anymore. Fireballs shoot from the runes, setting the guards ablaze. The sudden burst of flames sends them scrambling, and Edgar watches in shock. Rain picks up a fallen sword and points it toward the young lord, his voice firm as he demands a promise to never show up in this town again. The sight of the burning guards and Rain's fierce stance leaves Edgar no choice but to agree. With their leader's retreat, the noble's guards follow him out, and everyone in the city breathes a collective sigh of relief. Just then, a figure in a brown hoodie steps forward from the shadows, their presence mysterious and unsettling. The figure warns them against staying in the city and urges them to go as far away as possible. Back at the lodge, Luna and Sora are recounting the encounter with Edgar earlier in the day to the rest of the group. Rain, reflecting on the incident, suggests that perhaps Edgar's behavior stems from being an only child who was treated too leniently, leading to his arrogance. Tanya, puzzled, asks why the knights can't intervene to stop Edgar. The fairies explain that the Lord's son is exceptionally skilled at concealing evidence, making it impossible even for seasoned knights to catch him. Wanya, frustrated by the situation, half-jokingly suggests burning Edgar's mansion to the ground to prevent him from harassing the twins or the townspeople again. Rain, however, gets lost in thought about his goal to save everyone and the possibility that they might have to leave the city. His companions, noticing his contemplative state, quickly assure him that they are with him no matter what. They express their attachment to the town and their desire to stay and protect it as well. In the mansion of the Lord of Horizon, the Lord exits Edgar's room, having advised his son to be cautious in his pursuits. As soon as the door closes, Edgar turns to his lead guard with a sharp look. He instructs the guard to handle any formal complaints that might have been filed against him, as he usually does, ensuring that nothing tarnishes his reputation. Edgar also orders the guard to find out everything about the man named Rain, and, if possible, bring him to Edgar. The guard nods and leaves to carry out the orders, leaving Edgar to his thoughts. Moments later, Edgar rings a bell to summon his maid. When she arrives, slightly out of breath from hurrying, Edgar's expression darkens with anger. He chastises her for taking too long to respond, and, in a fit of rage, starts kicking her. His temper flares, revealing the cruelty that lies beneath his polished exterior. The maid, accustomed to such treatment, silently endures the abuse, her eyes downcast. Edgar's outburst only reinforces the twisted power dynamics within the mansion, highlighting the stark contrast between the facade of nobility and the underlying brutality. The following morning, Rain and Kinnaid arrive at the headquarters of the Order of the Knights, determined to file a complaint against the noble who had assaulted them. They approach the receptionist and explain that they had witnessed and experienced the violence perpetrated by Edgar in the market square. Their voices carry a mix of urgency and frustration as they demand that the Order take action against him and bring him to justice. As Rain and Kinnaid relay their story, some knights overhear the conversation and dismissively intervene. They regard the complaint as trivial and unimportant, brushing off the concerns with a wave of indifference. The cat girl, her patience wearing thin, starts to protest and demand justice. Her voice rises in pitch and intensity, drawing more attention. However, the knights remain unfazed, ignoring her pleas. They issue a stern warning about the consequences of slandering Edgar without any proof, their tone growing colder and more threatening. The mention of potential execution for treason sends a chill down their spines, emphasizing the danger of accusing a noble of such heinous crimes without concrete evidence. The duo leaves the premises, realizing that they cannot get any help from the Order, which seems to be in cahoots with the Lord. This explains why investigations against Edgar never turn out to be fruitful, despite his rampant crimes. As they walk down an alley, Kinnaid's sharp ears pick up the sound of someone hiding in the shadows. When they call out their stalker, a knight steps out. The knight introduces herself as Stella and apologizes for following them secretively. She explains that she is the vice captain of the Horizon branch of the Order and recognizes them as the team responsible for putting away the Ebon Fangs. Stella thanks them and adds that she was hiding the room when they were talking to the other knights. She confides that she has always wanted to punish the Lord's family for their various wrongdoings, but most of the knights have been corrupted through gifts from the Lord and have forgotten their duties. All they do now is cover up crimes for the Lord and his son and ignore the very townspeople they have sworn to protect. Even Captain Gillette is no exception, and she desperately wants to restore order among them. Seeing that there are very few people she can trust, Stella pleads with Rain and his companions to help her get rid of the Lord and Edgar, who have caused so much pain and suffering in the town. She expresses her desperation and determination to cleanse the Order and bring justice back to Horizon. Rain and Kinnaid listen intently, feeling the weight of Stella's words. They understand the magnitude of the task at hand and the dangers that come with it. Despite the risks, they see an opportunity to make a real difference and decide to help Stella. Their resolve strengthens as they prepare to join forces with her in the fight against the corruption that plagues the town. Rain feels a pang of uncertainty, suspecting that Stella's approach might be a trap set up by the Lord to capture and punish the rebels. However, Kinnaid, with her keen sense of intuition, assures him that she does not detect any evil intentions or negative energy from Stella. The knight seems sincere and honest in her request. Trusting Kinnaid's instincts, they join hands with Stella and agree to help her destroy the Lord's corrupt influence. When Stella asks why they want to defeat the Lord so badly, Rain explains that they found out about his crimes and could not remain silent. The knight is charmed by his righteousness and dedication to justice. She then outlines their first order of business, collecting proof of the Lord's crimes. Without solid evidence, there is a high risk they could be accused of treason. Rain suggests they start their operation within the Order of Knights itself and set a trap to gather evidence. The team decides to spread a rumor that a warehouse on the outskirts of town contains proof of the Knights' collusion with the Lord. While the Knights find the rumor about the warehouse unbelievable, they cannot afford to take any chances. The thought of the proof getting out in public would mean the end for them. They decide to handle the situation as quickly and carefully as possible, preparing to raid the warehouse and destroy any evidence they find. As night falls, the knights gather their forces and make their way to the warehouse. The building is shrouded in darkness, with limited visibility due to the absence of light. They enter cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the empty space. Unbeknownst to them, Rain and his party are already inside, hidden in the shadows and ready to strike. As the knights move deeper into the warehouse, the party starts taking them out one by one with swift, silent attacks. The knights, initially confused, soon realize they are being ambushed. Panic sets in as they decide to retreat quickly. However, when they turn to leave, they discover that the door has been shut behind them. They are now trapped, with no way out. Luna and Sora use their magic to freeze the door in place, ensuring no one can escape. Rain, equipped with a new gauntlet from Gant, shoots magical arrows at the knights, picking them off one by one. However, when he targets Captain Gillette, the man's sharp instincts kick in. Even in the darkness, Gillette blocks the arrows with his sword, turning to face the direction of the attack. As Gillette scans the room, his eyes land on Stella standing confidently. She tells Gillette to give up, revealing that back in town, her loyal comrades are taking over the Order's branch office and gathering proof of their corruption. This revelation infuriates the captain, who seethes with anger. Seeing Rain standing near Stella, Gillette's fury intensifies. He vows to take Rain to Edgar to make up for this disgrace, his pride wounded and his rage boiling over. Rain and his companions, undeterred by Gillette's threats, prepare for the final confrontation. The tension in the warehouse thickens as they brace themselves for the captain's attack. Stella, Rain, and the others stand united, ready to face the challenge head on. Stella asks Rain to let her end this herself and jumps in with her sword drawn for a duel with Gillette. The two knights engage in a fierce battle, their blades clashing at high speed. The sound of metal on metal echoes through the warehouse as they move with precision and agility. Gillette, with his sharp instincts, finds an opening and delivers a powerful punch to Stella's jaw, throwing her to the ground. She grits her teeth, quickly regaining her balance and standing up. The fire in her eyes shows her determination to see this through. Both knights run towards each other again, each ready to deliver a fatal blow. Stella skillfully dodges Gillette's sword, using his momentum against him. With a swift and precise movement, she manages to slit his throat. Gillette's eyes widen in shock as he collapses to the ground, his life slipping away. The news of the arrest of the corrupt knights reaches Edgar, who takes out his anger on his unfortunate slave. His rage is palpable. He remembers that his personal guard outnumbers the troublemakers and feels confident they can eliminate them. As Edgar seethes with anger, a hooded figure appears at his window, casting an eerie shadow. The figure speaks, cautioning Edgar not to be so sure of his victory. Intrigued and suspicious, Edgar listens as the stranger introduces himself as someone who shares a deep hatred for Rain. The hooded figure reveals that Rain possesses a hero, ultimate species, and seems intent on taking away everything the Lord values. To aid Edgar, the stranger throws a magical ring to him, explaining that it is a powerful item designed to kill its target swiftly. He instructs Edgar to use the ring against Rain, adding that Edgar's intense negative emotions will only amplify the ring's power. Entrusting Edgar with the task of killing the Tamer, the hooded figure makes a dramatic exit, leaving Edgar with a newfound weapon and a dark resolve. Edgar, now armed with the magical ring, feels a twisted sense of empowerment and a burning desire for revenge. On the other hand, Edgar's slave lies on the cold floor, so badly injured that she can barely move. She reminisces about her past life in a sunny, peaceful village and wonders what she did to deserve such a cruel fate. The pain and despair weigh heavily on her, making every moment a struggle. Outside the mansion, Stella and her comrades arrive to inspect the premises. The guards at the entrance refuse to let them in, citing the lack of any prior notification of an investigation and the absence of Captain Gillette. Stella, undeterred, informs them that Gillette and all his corrupt knights have been arrested and that she is there regarding the same matter. Kinnaid and Tanya stand beside Stella, hyping her up with encouraging words. Stella, with confidence and authority, demands that the guards let her through or face the same fate as their fellow corrupt peacekeepers. The tension rises as the guards raise an alert and call for reinforcements, preparing for battle. Edgar, watching the commotion from his window, tightens his grip on the magical ring. He feels a dark satisfaction, ready to use the ring to kill Rain and seize the ultimate species from him. Meanwhile, Rain and the fairies sneak into the mansion, taking advantage of the distraction at the main gate. Their primary task is to locate and rescue the townspeople kidnapped by the Lord. Luna, bubbling with excitement, receives a gentle reprimand from Sora, who reminds her that they must remain discreet to ensure the hostages' safety. Using her search magic, Luna begins to locate the townspeople. Sora, ever practical, points out that once they find the hostages, they can use their teleport magic to evacuate them quickly. As Sora and Rain review their plan one last time, Luna announces that she has found the hostages. However, Luna also detects another massive energy signature nearby, clearly not human. The quantity of magic suggests it is likely an ultimate species. Upon learning about the powerful magic signal, Rain asks the fairies to take care of the hostages while he investigates its source. The twins, worried for his safety, hesitate to let him go alone. Rain reassures them, explaining that since he does not have teleport magic, he cannot help with the evacuation. This is the only way he can be useful. The fairies, though concerned, make him promise to come back safe. With a mix of determination and anxiety, they part ways to carry out their respective tasks. Following Luna's directions, Rain navigates through the mansion until he reaches a doorway. Entering the room, he discovers a cell with a captive inside. Seeing her fox-like ears and 3 tails, Rain immediately recognizes her as a demigod. As she opens her eyes, Rain uses his superhuman strength to break open the cell door. Once inside, he quickly uses healing magic on her, assuring her that he's there to help. When she asks who he is, Rain introduces himself. The demigod, grateful for his presence and kindness, introduces herself as Nana. Overwhelmed with relief and gratitude, she runs into his arms. Rain comforts her, explaining that they need to move quickly to ensure her safety. Nana, grateful for her rescue, begins to recount her harrowing tale to Rain. She explains how Edgar had raided her peaceful village and found her hiding in her house. When he tried to approach her, she instinctively used her magic to shock his hand away. This enraged Edgar, and he ordered his guards to bring in the young villagers they had captured. Threatening to behead them, he forced Nana to comply, desperate to save her fellow villagers. She begged him to stop, but he handed her a slave collar and demanded she put it on. She remembers the madness in Edgar's eyes when he realized he had captured a demigod and how he established his power over her through physical force. As she shares her story, Rain listens intently, his heart heavy with sympathy and anger at Edgar's cruelty. He praises her for her strength and resilience, promising to save her from this torment. Nana, though grateful, pulls away slightly, revealing the collar around her neck. She explains that the collar has strong magic cast on it. Rian, undeterred, asks her to trust him. He begins studying the magic binding her, noticing its similarity to taming magic. With determination, Rain uses his power to override the collar's magic. The strength of the binding magic is immense, wrapping him in lightning and causing him pain, but his resolve remains unshaken. He calls upon the combined powers of his companions, channeling their strength into a powerful effort to break the spell. The intense magic battle drains Rain, but finally, with a surge of energy, he shatters the collar's binding spell. Exhausted, he stumbles, and Nana quickly holds him up, her gratitude evident in her eyes. She gently urges him to take care of himself and not to overextend his kindness. Outside, as the guards face defeat, their leader desperately commands them to bring out the hostages and use them as leverage. Just as they are about to carry out the order, Luna and Sora appear, raining down fireballs on the enemy forces. Luna and Sora inform their friends that they have already transported the prisoners to a safe location. With the hostages secure, they tell everyone that they no longer need to hold back and can launch a full-blown attack on the mansion. Stella, with determination in her eyes, she heads into the mansion. Inside, Edgar watches the unfolding chaos with growing anger. He is furious at how ineffective his guards have been, viewing them as a waste of money. Just then, his father walks in, expressing his concern that their defense is crumbling. Edgar, trying to maintain a facade of confidence, tells his father to run away without him while he takes care of destroying the proof of their wrongdoing. In another part of the mansion, Rain is carrying Nana to safety when he runs into his friends. Introducing Nana, Tanya raises an eyebrow, annoyed that the insatiable fool has picked up another girl. Rain tries to defend himself, but the girls quickly admit they're just messing with him. They are genuinely surprised that a demigod, usually worshipped by humans, could be won over by Rain. With playful banter, his harem assures Nana that they will always be with her, accepting her into their group. Just as Rain starts to relax, the scene is interrupted by the Lord of Horizon desperately running to escape the mansion. Stella, sword drawn, commands him to submit to the investigation. When the Lord refuses, Rain swiftly uses his gauntlet to conjure a magical rope, binding the old man. The sudden restraint causes the Lord to lose his balance and tumble down the stairs, losing consciousness upon impact. Edgar, hearing the commotion, rushes to the top of the stairs and summons a Grim Reaper to take Rain to the underworld. The spectral figure appears, its menacing presence filling the air. Before Rain can react, the Reaper stabs him in the chest with its scythe. Arios, standing on the roof of the mansion, hears the screams and feels a twisted satisfaction, convinced that Rain has been killed. With a smug sense of victory, he escapes, planning to enjoy a peaceful sleep. Inside the mansion, however, Rain opens his eyes, realizing that the attack was just a hallucination that felt eerily realistic. In a sudden burst of curiosity, Luna attacks Rain with poison to see if it would work, not thinking about the consequences. Sora, enraged by her sister's recklessness, threatens to kill Luna for her carelessness. Luna hurriedly explains that she had been wondering if Rain had acquired more than just one of their abilities, like he had from his other contracts. The incident with the Reaper led her to conclude that Rain had received the power to nullify magic as well. To satisfy her intellectual curiosity, she had tried to poison him. Sora, still unconvinced that the attack was justified, continues trying to strangle her sister, which frightens Nana. Rain steps in to comfort Nana, explaining that this chaotic interaction is just a usual representation of the sisterly bond between Luna and Sora. Despite the bizarre turn of events, the explanation helps to calm Nana a bit. In the midst of all this excitement, they momentarily forget about Edgar, who has dropped to the floor, grappling with an existential crisis. The fact that his spell had no effect on Rain shatters his confidence, leaving him in a state of bewildered despair. Edgar's rising manic anger channels more power from the ring, releasing the demon within it. The dark energy consumes Edgar completely, transforming him into a monstrous entity. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more. And check out some of our other series shown on screen now.